Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Power of One. And it's almost 1, 2, 3 here. Eileen, what do you think about that?
I got 222 here.
Oh, that's perfect.
Even better.
Even better. So awesome. So, gosh, it's been a month. There's so much that we were just talking about that we want to bring up during the show. Actually, let me do this
Yeah.
right in the beginning. That way, people that tune out don't miss what's coming up this Wednesday. So let me go to this screen and show you guys on the International Mandela Effect Conference website or YouTube channel. You can, this Wednesday, the 26th, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have our episode of Open Tables. It's episode 4, and it's the Mandela Effect in Brazil. It's going to be super exciting. Of course, it'll be the 4 of us, along with animal communicator Carla Cicerino, I believe it's pronounced. So join us. Please mark the calendar. And if you're not subscribed, you can actually click below this video and head on over to the YouTube channel. And I'll put another post out before the time is here. But yeah,
Well, that
so I'm
sounds
excited
great.
about that.
I think I've seen videos of her on YouTube already. If she's the same one I think it is, who goes into um, where there's wild captive animals that can't be re-released for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not coping. They're not coping with their captivity, and the people who are taking care of them are at their wits' end, saying, they're just so dangerous. We don't know what to do. And she goes in and I don't know. She's like the horse whisperer. They don't attack her. They don't mind her. And through silence, she
Wow.
communicates with them. I think this is the same lady.
Yeah, from
And then
Brazil. Yeah.
yeah. And she comes back and she goes, "This is the problem. This is what you are doing wrong with this wild animal. And if you do it this way, then they're going to calm down." And the people are like, I'm skeptical, right? And then they make the suggested changes, and the animal transforms and is completely calm and cooperative, not in a docile way, but in a I'm not going to kill you and eat you way
Right,
today, right?
right.
And it's always something to do with their dignity. It's always the animal, if it's a lion, a tiger, a black leopard, some kind of a predator, it's always upset about its dignity in captivity. And they have to
Wow.
change something so they show respect to the animal, and then the animal will calm down. But I don't think it's being used just to keep animals in the zoo.
Right,
I think it's more done in places where they save them, rescue them, and they're trying to take care of them
right.
during that process, but it's almost impossible to do so because they're so wild.
Right. That is so cool. Well, it's the International Mandela Effect Conference, so it's an international thing, and she's down in Brazil, so she's going to be talking about some of the Mandela effects down there, and hopefully about what she does, because this sounds super duper interesting, and it's
Yeah.
kind of a relief when you see people connected and talking to animals, see the Mandela effect. I don't know, it is for me anyway.
Yeah. The fact that she is an animal, well, some people call them animal psychics, but they're animal communicators, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she's Mandela affected.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Well,
she's Mandela affected with the animals and she's seeing changes in the actual animals themselves. Like those two white eyes on the back of all tigers' ears
right.
that none of us really remember.
Right. I don't know, but I'm super excited to see what she's seeing down there because I know oftentimes I've seen in the comments where, oh, it's just something you Americans are dealing with. It's not all over the world, but we can't really talk to people all over the world as easily if they're not in the English speaking country. So typically we do. We talk to people in, the UK or just Europe in general or here, and they're seeing it. But this is nice to get into South America. And if anybody's here or anywhere else in the world, chime in the bottom. See if you're experiencing the Mandela effect in your country. Be nice to hear about it because I have seen comments of people that notice
Yeah.
geography changes, and maybe they're in India or something. So I've noticed people, but it's
I've
hard
noticed
to.
comments in other languages that I can't read
Yeah,
on a Mandela effect video. So I'm like, yeah, and there are videos out there, a lot of Spanish speaking videos on the Mandela effect. I don't know if you've looked into that, but I don't really speak Spanish, so I don't, I need to translate them.
that's so funny that you said that because I've memorized a scripture in Spanish class John 3:16. And I was looking through all the Spanish versions of it, and I can't find the one I memorized. So I don't know if it's changed.
Is it gone? Has it disappeared? You
It's
actually
similar,
memorized it?
and I memorized it, not knowing, and I don't know it word
That
for word, but I memorized the whole thing. So
that could be a Mandela
I
effect.
could have
Speaking of,
residue in my consciousness that I
your
could,
consciousness is holding the residue of the way it was, and now you're looking for it,
and I'm
and you
far enough
can't find it.
removed that it's not word for word. It's just, you just learn it. So it's not like we learn words word for word, and we'll notice
Yeah.
one little change. And I would be able, if it was in English, I could look at it and say, well, look, this word changed to this, like I can, but I can't tell. I can just see that it's not what I memorized. Little changes here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the changes to the Lord's Prayer. A lot
Yeah.
of people reacted to that, and some people say, no, that's exactly the way I learned it.
Yeah.
So, and then you and I share a lot of Mandela effects together, but then there's Mandela effects that we don't share,
Right.
but we share a lot. So it's
Yeah.
like, well, why don't we share them all? So
Right.
that kind of gives me the idea that maybe it's not a timeline thing, that
Hmm.
we're from the same timeline, because there are differences in our Mandela effects.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It seems very fluid and dynamic, and like each thing has its own timeline almost. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and like Cynthia points out, it's like each moment has its own timeline. But timelines, she's like, keep using that word until we have a better word. We don't have a word for it yet.
Right. Yeah. It's easier to sort of set it up linearly because it is almost like a soup of consciousness that collapses when you put your focus on it. So, I mean, it's
But
easier.
if it's based on focus like a radio and we're the antenna, then our consciousness can go all over the place.
Right.
And maybe the goal for evolution for humanity is to learn how to control that consciousness so we can tune in what we want and where we want to go, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is
And
actually why we combine our power of intention now, because it's
maybe
very
this is
exciting.
part of it. This
Yeah.
this convoluted, oh my God, that's changed. No, that's changed. No, I remember it this way. I remember it that way. It kind of gives you the idea that consciousness is really fluid and individual,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So once you figure that out, maybe you can figure out how to steer it. It'd be
Hmm.
like being on a boat without a rudder, or a rudder's there, but you don't know how to use it and it's going all over the place, right?
Right.
And then suddenly you realize, wait a minute, there's a rudder here. And if I turn it here and turn it there, I can direct the boat,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And sometimes the smallest little changes can make a huge difference over time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And people too.
Hmm.
Like, I'm like, where are our Martin Luther Kings and our Gandhis and our Kennedys and our Abraham Lincolns when we need them? We need them now. We need some strong leadership. And maybe that will emerge. But then you think about all the people you talk to and interact with every single day. That kind of work is more important than standing up on a podium and leading a nation or leading the world. That will develop eventually, but maybe that comes out of people doing the work in their community. you know
Hmm.
that might be what leads to brilliant leadership emerging.
Well, I have to tell you because, between you, Cynthia Sue Larson, there was a few people that I thought might have heard about what's coming up here in Tulsa. And it's the 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre. This horrific event that happened here. I talked to you about it, Cynthia, and several other people. Nobody's heard about it. Now, I'm right here in Tulsa, right? We're coming up on this 100-year anniversary. I first heard about it in 2018 when I was looking for a place for us to do our gathering here, the Mandela Effect gathering. And I came across this park, and I can't think of the name right now, but, I looked into it was a memorial park. I looked into it, and it was all centered around this event that happened 100 years ago called the Tulsa
I've
Race Massacre.
I've never heard of it until this moment. Can you explain it to people while I check my Wi-Fi connection? Because I'm kind of losing you guys today. But
Okay, I don't think it's you.
explain it.
I don't think it's you because I'm noticing my lights kind of flashing yellow and red. So hopefully,
I can do something to clear it up on my end. So
okay,
if you explain what that is, because this is totally new to me.
okay, good.
I've never heard of it until this moment.
And I want to know if anybody else out there that's into history could have possibly heard about this because for me, it was mind blowing. So I guess 1921, a black man walked into an elevator. There was a white woman attendant, and she screamed, said she was being attacked. I don't know if they ever got to the bottom of whether the guy actually did anything or not, but he ended up being taken into custody, and then that just worked into this huge within, I think they said 18 hours, like hundreds of people had died because there was just this huge race war, massacre, they called it. And all these people died. There was bodies piled up in the streets. And, you know, I went into looking into this whole thing to see if possibly, you know, it's a Mandela effect, or maybe something came out that would reveal this hidden dark history, you know, surrounding this area. So as I looked into it, all I can find is why people haven't heard about it. They're surprised. And I came across this Tulsa Public School video that said that it's just too close to home. People didn't know how to discuss it. But I don't know that, you know, you sort of find these excuses when it comes to Mandela effects. These excuses of why we haven't heard of it, or excuses about, so I don't take this excuse, you know, the excuse that we're too close to home, because we hear about, you know, you hear about the Chicago fire, you hear about anything else when you live there, right?
Oh, and yeah, you hear local legend, local myths, local stories just kind of simmer through where you grow up. So usually when I hear a historical change, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be fair. That could be a Mandela effect. Absolutely. That is on the table. But I'm also like, knowing how much they don't tell us, knowing how much what they teach us is either the opposite or wrong. It's called hidden history, right?
Yeah.
Hidden archaeology. Then I go, okay, well, maybe it's something for some reason they just didn't want us to know. So they didn't teach us about it and then investigate it. But something that big,
Yeah.
only 100 years ago, like there would be grandmas and grandpas talking about it 10, 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
It would be there in the community being spoken about, if not taught in the history books.
One video I came across, I think it was a black attorney that was representing one of the only surviving people that was from 100 years ago. This really old lady, she said she remembered seeing bodies piled in the streets. And, you know, he said he hadn't heard about it until 1997 when he went to college, but he grew up on the street where it happened at. No.
That would seem impossible.
And that's what he said. He told his professor.
Impossible.
He said this in his interview. He goes, I told my professor, I grew up on Greenwood. I don't know what you're talking about. And he said, of course I was wrong. And there was all this history I didn't know about. So is it really possible this guy could have lived in the very spot it happened?
Well, is it possible that Germany bombed the torch of the Statue of Liberty in what, World War I?
And we didn't hear about it?
And no, we never heard about it? Yeah, but that's even more local. So it has more significance to the guy who grew up on the street. He's like, I grew up here. I'm sure that the older people on the street would have mentioned it, you know?
Yeah. You know, word of mouth, you're right there where it happened. How did it not, you know, something so horrific, how was it not a story that you passed down, you know? Like, yeah, in this very spot this happened, you know? But since I heard about that memorial park, I've heard about them looking for mass graves. They're trying to find where all these people are buried. Why is all this coming up now, I wonder?
And where are they? Are they under the memorial park?
Right.
Is that where they are? They just boom, boom, boom?
And that was the other thing. They slapped in an interstate over most of where all this happened, you know, years later. So they still feel like there's some corruption within the government.
Well, you know, if there was an interstate put on immediately following the demolition of this community,
I don't think it was
my
immediate.
Conspiracy hat ears are like, well, they wanted that space.
Yeah.
And then an opportunity might have arisen. I'm not saying it did, but an opportunity might have arisen where they said, hey, we can go get that now. Let's go remove that community.
Opportunists.
And let's do it now.
Right.
Opportunists, right.
Yeah.
Who was it? Some famous guys in politics, you guys, if you remember, put in the chat, said never let a good, what was it? Go to waste. Never let a good crisis go to waste.
Yeah.
Maneuver it for a political advantage. And somebody famous, really famous, said that, but I can't remember which one.
Well, you know, this brings up something else that I think it was last year when I first came across this, because I was like, how in the world? Actually, let me share, because I want you to see this too.
Cool.
Share here, and I'll go here. Whoops. Okay, Juneteenth. How many of you guys have heard of Juneteenth? I just found out about this. It was either last June or the June before. I've only known about this for a year or two. This is...
Okay, I'm just finding out about it right this moment.
Right
now, today, here with you guys.
Okay, so for you guys that you know, this might be a Mandela effect for you too. This is so mind blowing because here I think I would have heard about this. Okay, so Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, Liberation Day, and Emancipation Day, is a holiday celebrating the emancipation of those who have been enslaved in the United States. Originating in Galveston, Texas, it is now celebrated annually on June 19th. It's coming up here in less than a month. Throughout the United States, with varying official recognition. It is commemorated on the anniversary date of the June 19th, 1865 announcement of Union Army General Gordon Granger proclaiming freedom from slavery in Texas. So, if we go down further here, let's see.
It says it started. When did celebrations start?
66,
like not last year.
1866.
1866.
Yep, at first involving church center community gatherings in Texas, it spread across the South and became more commercialized in the 1920s and 1930s, often centered on a food festival. During the civil rights movement of the 1960s, it was eclipsed by the struggle for post-war civil rights, but grew in popularity again in the 1970s when I was born, but I don't remember any of this, with a focus on African American freedom and arts. By the 21st century, Juneteenth was celebrated in most major cities across the United States. Activists are campaigning for the United States Congress to recognize Juneteenth as a national holiday.
So I've never heard of that. I grew up in the Chicago suburbs.
Yeah, I grew up in St. Louis. I learned about all of this, history. You would think this would be tied directly to the Civil War. I mean, this is huge.
This is huge. I mean, this is bigger and longer and more established than Black History Month, you know?
Yeah.
It's like if they're going to give you guys a month of television, right, and media, why wouldn't they kind of promote this date? And why wouldn't they make Black History Month June
exactly
to go with Juneteenth?
That's my whole point. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Slavery ended. It doesn't make sense.
Right, because this was already there, you know what I mean? So why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And then I thought it was always because of Martin Luther King's birthday, but I think his is in January. But I thought...
What's in May? We've got a Memorial Day in May. But this does not interfere with anything. It doesn't interfere with Memorial Day or a president's birthday or Martin Luther King Day.
It's wild. I just look at this. It's funny because people in Texas are like, yeah, I know all about this. You know what I mean? But
I spent a summer in Texas in Houston, and we went to Galveston all the time to go to the beach. And never heard of it. And I was there in June, July, and August one year. So that was not something in my world in 1981. I think I was there in 1980, 1981, maybe 82. I was there for Hurricane Alicia. I was there for my first hurricane. So whatever year that blew through Galveston and Houston.
That is just so wild.
Never heard of it, never saw it. So it feels like a Mandela effect to me.
It sure does. Yeah, it does to me. Let's see, this has been up since this has 2014 on it. I don't know, man. It's so weird to me.
But you see, 2014 is around that year, 2012, 2014, 2016, when the Mandela effect exploded, literally.
Yeah, and why would they put it up then and not sooner,
And why not sooner? Exactly.
I don't know. It's feeling kind of Mandela effect-ish to me, though, for real. I mean...
Very much so. Very much so. And I think it's like, people go, oh, Mandela effects are slowing down. Nobody's reporting on them. There's not much going on. I think they're just constant. They're all around us all the time. And half the time we don't even notice them.
Well, we're going to talk about this on Open Tables on Wednesday, but there was actually a comet that came by in 1921, right when all this was happening here in Tulsa. And it's supposed to be coming around again, like here, I think a day or two after the show airs on Wednesday. So
stick around, go to the show on IMEC, International Mandela Effect Conference is the name of the channel, right?
Yep, in our Open Tables. You can actually click the link below. It says IMEC on YouTube. Click that, subscribe, and that show's on Wednesday. But we're going to try to figure out if there's a correlation between that comet, which is also a Mandela effect for many of us. We didn't know this thing comes around 100 years, every 100 years. 1921, it's coming around again. I don't even know the name of it. So
yeah, I know. I don't know the name of it either.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I remember Halley's Comet, and that was a 75.
I remember Halley's Comet. Isn't that every 77 years? Because it came the month the day that Mark Twain was born. What's his name? Samuel Clemens. Mark Twain, I love that author. He was like our Charles Dickens for
Right.
America, really commenting on social things. Huckleberry Finn, right?
Yeah, I loved Huckleberry Finn.
Loved it. And it came again on the day he died. So I think Halley's Comet is a 77 year, if I remember correctly. It comes every 77 years. So
Lem-
why won't we know about the one that comes every 100 years?
Hey, you guys, type in the chat how you remember Haley's Comet being spelled, if you do remember one way or the other. I think it'd be
I remember it
interesting.
HALEY apostrophe S. So it would be belonging to Haley. Like someone named Haley found it.
Yeah.
How is it spelled?
Let me pull it up here just in case it changed.
How do you guys remember it? I can't see the chat, but I will after the show. I'll go back and read it.
Let me search Wikipedia for Haley's Comet. Two L's.
And two L's? That would be Halley's. Halley.
Okay, yeah. Some people remember it spelled like HAILL. Oh, you can't say this. But yeah, HAI. So the first L being more like an I. Let me let you see it because it's easier to visualize what I mean.
Instead of it being HAIL, like hail falling on your head,
Right.
I remember it like a pail, and it was HALEY apostrophe S. That's my memory.
Oh, okay.
And that says to me Holly's.
Right.
Holly's Comet.
Exactly. But if you took a little bitty, if you did what they did to the Volkswagen logo, right, and you took this little line out of here, it would look like, you could see how, it could almost look like Haley's, especially
like Helley's,
like HAILEY, like the
that
first
does not
L.
look right to me, but that's like Hillary Clinton flipping and flopping
Hillary,
constantly.
Yeah, does she have two
L's
or
to
one?
L.
I don't even know now.
Well, during the election in 2016, which she lost, she had two L's. But I think right now, go ahead and Google her. I think she's gone back to one L.
No,
and people
she's
go,
two.
She's two. Okay.
Yeah, I remember Scott talking about this one. This one's weird because, it's gone from 1 to 2 to 1 to 2.
If you read anything old that's available online, the Residue, back in her early career in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, it'll have one L. But I've noticed Residue is disappearing off the internet. Like a year ago when I researched the Pillsbury Doughboy having a blue scarf, which I remember, versus a white scarf,
right.
Which if you go and study the history of the Doughboy, he was invented in 1964 by the Leo Burnett Ad Company in Chicago, and he always had a white scarf, no belly button, and a white hat. Okay? And what's weird is that they made, in the early days, his white scarf was white, but his body was cream, and his hat was cream. So it makes the scarf look out of place, like too white. It should have been cream to go with all the creaminess of all the ads and stuff in the 60s. So I used to pull up a bunch of residue of him with a blue scarf.
Yeah.
And now I checked, and there's very little residue left. But there is some residue of the Doughboy Pillsbury with a blue scarf. But the residue seems to be disappearing.
Where you seem to get a lot is with something like that, especially, is costumes. Pillsbury Doughboy costume, and then you go look, and you'll find people with blue scarves because people, that know something so well, they won't like, well, what did it look like? They just know, and so you'll find it like a risky business. That's a perfect example.
Yes, the
you
sunglasses
go look,
or the pink shirt or the white shirt.
Right. And now you go look up all the pictures. Almost everybody's got the sunglasses and the white shirt. But
yeah, because I think he threw the sunglasses during his dance, and now he never had the sunglasses on in the current
and a shirt
version of that movie. Yeah. So if you look up antiques, you can find the Pillsbury Doughboy in antiques that are being sold right now with a blue scarf, but not many.
Right. But that's where, we talk about human consciousness come into it. And you've got, somebody that's just at home making pottery, and they're like, oh, I'll make the Pillsbury Doughboy. That'd be nice, and they're going to just make it how they know it is. So, of course, it's going to survive. It's like if you memorize lyrics to a song and then it gets Mandela affected and you're singing it the old way,
Oh, my God, I got something so funny to share with you guys. So Cynthia Sue Larson, Jen's Gems, and moi are on TikTok. We are doing Mandela effects for the younger crowd on TikTok, and they are loving it. Absolutely loving it. And one of my commenters in my 60-second TikTok, let's go see what the Pillsbury Doughboy is wearing, right? And I just show it on my computer screen. She wrote, "Oh my God, I cannot wait to tell my brother. He has the Pillsbury Doughboy tattooed on his arm with a blue scarf."
Has she looked at it since it got Mandela? Because
So now she's going, no, 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 it's blue. And then I showed her on the TikTok where it's white, and it's always been white, right? I pulled up the original ads from the 60s. It says, it's got pictures of them and stuff. So she can't wait to tell her brother because his tattoo is off. His tattoo is Mandela.
wow.
And who knows when he got that tattoo of the Pillsbury Doughboy? I'm sure it wasn't yesterday, right?
Wow, that's crazy. Because every time I see it, it makes me want to color it in. Like just like when you open a coloring book, it's like ready to go.
And I got people commenting, "Oh, you're confusing it with the Ghostbusters Stay Puft Marshmallow Man," because he had a blue sailor hat on with a white sailor hat on with blue ribbon, and I don't know if he had a blue tie, sailor's tie. And I'm like, nope. My memories and everybody else who commented were solid, that it was blue for the Pillsbury Doughboy, but a couple of people chimed in that it was red, and I'm like, what? A red scarf on the Doughboy? And they're convinced that it was red.
I can almost remember that. That's
seriously
strange. Yeah, and I do that with Febreze too. It's like we saw Febreze. Like when I first heard about the Mandela effect, and I saw Febreze, I was like, no, it was Breeze. And then everybody was like, it used to be Febreeze, Febreze, and it looked familiar. But then I remembered when it first came out, and I didn't know what the product was. I'm like, what is this? I remember thinking fabric freshener, fabric breeze, Febreze. It was Febreze when I first thought about it because...
But it was still Breeze. It wasn't Febreze.
Right. No, it was...
Or Febreze.
Right, but what I'm saying is, by the time people were saying it was a Mandela effect, and I was on to the Mandela effect, I agreed that it used to be Breeze, but then it, jarred my memory later on that how you think stuff out as a clever name, and I remember thinking, oh, it's for your fabric to freshen it, fabric, Breeze stuff, and that's kind of how I marked it.
Make your fabric smell like a breeze.
Yeah.
Blowing through your house.
Right. But now, what the heck is FEB supposed to be short for? Feb.
And why Breze, Breze.
Right.
Breze. Yeah. It's kind of French looking, because they throw a lot of E's on the end of things, right?
Kind of like J.C. Penney.
I don't speak French. J.C. Penney. And what was it? Oh, God. I can't remember. There was this show in England, and they played it on PBS here in America, and her name was Bucket. And she said, "My name is Bouquet, not Bucket. Miss Bouquet."
Yeah, the whole Chevrolet thing. Right? Chevrolet.
Oh, yeah, Chevrolet and Chevrolet. So,
let's
any other Mandela effects that I haven't really found anything that really struck me. That Halley's Comet, Halley, is kind of striking me because it's spelled like Hall.
Yeah.
Like Hall-E's Comet. So that's a new one for me, and so is all the history that you taught me today.
Yeah, that's definitely new to me. And like I said, I live here, so let me see. My chat wasn't loading up. Okay, so here we go.
Let's see what the chat has to say. Hey, guys.
Yep, Jane remembers Haley's,
hey,
like Haleys.
With an I in it.
And then Melinda remembers it like you do, Haley.
And then apostrophe S.
Like an apostrophe S, yeah.
Yeah, it was like
it's a person's
Halley.
name.
Mr. Halley found it, and they named it Haley's. Mr. Haley found it. See, now in my brain, I'm saying Hawley's because I've seen it spelled that way. So I'm going to wind up with a dual memory soon of both ways.
Yeah. Oh, I totally missed what you were talking about, Jane. President Trump mentioned it one time when he was in office. I'm not sure.
Oh, one of the history things that we just discovered.
Oh, maybe the Juneteenth thing.
The Juneteenth thing.
I think that might have been what made me. I think him saying something about it might have been whatever was in the news made me notice it. But I was talking to because a lot of Mandela affected people are in Texas, and a lot of those people I talked to were like, "Yeah, I already know about it," So, Biker Babe, hey, what's up?
Hey,
Jane?
Biker.
Sending love to all of you guys in the chat here. Sorry, I've been
Hi
missing
to
it. It didn't
everybody.
load in, and now that it is, I'm seeing I've been missing a bunch of stuff. So,
Well, I
apologies.
think I cleared up my screen a little bit because my SCART cable was only partially connected, and you guys were just going in and out for me today. So I think it's a little clearer for me anyway on my end.
Mine's been clear ever since you did that. Were you messing me up?
Ooh,
I'm just
I
playing.
guess I
No,
was.
I don't think it could.
Who knows,
That
right?
indicator could
Oh,
be
did you
that.
guys hear? Did you hear that we had a huge CME, coronal mass ejection, which is bigger than a sunspot or a flare, bigger than a flare, for 18 hours, and it ended 2 days ago. So really, that's when the Earth is being bombarded with electromagnetic storms from the sun and a
Hmm.
big one storm for 18 hours. Great time to do manifestation and meditation.
I guess it was like 4 or 5 days ago. I woke up with a splitting headache. I mean, it was so bad. I'd never had a headache like I thought I'd never had a headache like that before. But it brought back childhood nostalgia of being a real little kid and having these same headaches. And I was like, I forgot I had these things. You too?
No, I did not get a headache, but everybody was talking about the headaches associated with the CME, and the electromagnetic storm was causing headaches. And I just said to people, hey, there's an electromagnetic storm that we're in for 18 hours. Just drink lots more water.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always think, well, water gets rid of headaches, right? By hydrating the brain. I don't know if it worked or not.
Right. Yeah, I
So,
noticed caffeine, water. Caffeine just kind of masks it, I think. But
and wine and alcohol creates headaches because it dehydrates the brain.
hmm.
So if you're going to have a couple glasses of wine, then before you go to bed, have an equal amount of water, if not
Hmm.
more.
And I'm
So you wake up.
so thankful you told me about magnesium because now I take it
Yeah.
before bed. Because
Which did you take it for sleep or for muscle cramps in the legs?
I
Or
took it
did you get
for heart palpitations and muscle
heart
cramps.
palpitations?
Yeah.
Yeah. Magnesium does so much because humans are so vitamin D and magnesium deficient.
Yeah, they say up to 70, they say 75% of the population is deficient on magnesium. And
Yeah,
I
I
just,
take it. I take it every other day. I figure I take two though.
I take these,
So,
just what you get at like just a regular store,
yeah,
400 milligram. I know there's other
it's
stuff,
so
powder
good
and
for your
stuff.
heart and so good. We got rid of my husband's muscle cramps with magnesium. He would wake up with Charlie horses, really painful
Oh, yeah.
when your muscles seize up.
I've even
You
had
know,
some where you wake up the next day and you can tell you had one because your muscle's super sore, but I guess it was while you were
you
in that
slept
one.
through
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
Not anymore, not with the magnesium. And we are not doctors here, guys. We're just sharing what
What?
works for us.
Yep. Exactly. But it helps
Yeah.
with like the other, and that's so funny. I'm glad you said that because during the CME, if I get heart palpitations, I usually get, I think it's AFib. There's AFib and DFib.
Yeah.
One of them
Yeah.
gives
Because
you
that's
more
called
of a,
tachycardia. And I'm not a nurse, but my mom had tachycardia.
hmm.
And magnesium gets rid of tachycardia. Is that what you
Right.
take it for? Do you run and go take a magnesium?
I did before, but now I just wait until I go to bed. I'm like, yeah, I'll survive. Because, if you have too much, you can get blood clots and that can lead to a stroke. So it's a good idea not to allow
Yeah,
yourself
don't
to,
take too much of anything, especially
well, I mean,
anything.
allowing yourself to have the heart palpitations, that's when the clots can form.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you're having them real bad, you should just probably go ahead and take some and take a nap. If you try it
Well,
anyway.
they prescribed medicine for my mom for the heart palpitations, but they made her feel really dopey, and she couldn't walk well with them because she was older. So she went to magnesium for tachycardia as well. But I don't think she OD'd on it. I don't think she took too much.
Right.
But isn't that what's in those little pills that they give people to pop under their tongue? I don't know, that have regular palpitations and tachycardia. Wasn't that some kind of a magnesium releasing thing that they pop under their tongue? I don't know.
I don't
If
know, but
anybody in there knows.
I do know a doctor told me when I went to the doctor years ago, he said that people have a much higher survival rate if they're not deficient in magnesium. Like the body
And
almost takes.
vitamin D.
Right.
Everybody who gets cancer, it doesn't cause it necessarily, but everybody who has a cancer is deficient in vitamin D. It's like that
Mm,
goes with it.
right.
So, boost, and they're saying to boost it up anyway because of the CV,
Hmm. That makes
our code
sense.
word.
Right.
Yeah. Our code word. Everybody knows what that means.
So during your meditation and stuff, have you noticed anything different? Like I mentioned before, like I don't know, just tapping into all these streams of thought that are kind of unrelated with anything, but inventions and seeing things like that. But also, at times when maybe I see a bit of troubling news, right? And then I'll go into meditation and I'll see beyond the surface of what's sort of appearing maybe in alternative media that's troubling. And I'll see how, once again, they've overdone it, and all it's going to do is accelerate this awakening
Wake
process.
people up.
So I see this, right, over and over again. And I'm wondering if anyone else is experiencing this when you sort of like rest and think with something and not really judge it, just kind of view something and then go into the state of meditation. There's this peace that comes over about it, and like that's just like this is what it looks like. It feels raw, but think of how much more. Think how gentle it is. We think of how chaotic it is, but think of like how much. I've thought of so many scenarios of like a global awakening, and none of them were as gentle as what we're experiencing here. So
That's a good point. If
Yeah.
this is the global awakening or the awakening of humanity,
Right.
which I think it is, we all think it is,
Yeah.
it's
not
a
a
lot
super
easier.
volcano.
It's not as up. There's not as much upheaval as there could have been.
Right. Because that's what I
Although
thought.
some people say
Asteroid
yet. They're like,
Right.
well, this is the beginning of the awakening, and it's baby steps. But
Right.
maybe the awakened ones can control the pace and keep it smooth and adaptable so that it's not a great upheaval for people.
Right.
Maybe that's our job here.
Right. Well,
Maybe we came here for this period right now to help this transition go a little bit easier on the collective.
Well, one of the things I saw, you're going to love this because we've been talking about this way before any of the sea stuff happened, right? So, how we're actually projecting out, how we're conduits, right, for the love
Yeah,
light
we're
energy,
conduits.
and we're transmitting that out, right? So you
We're
hear about
antennas.
right. So you hear about them doing things to make people antennas, but what is it? If you make someone an
My God,
antenna, you're just making them more receptive to the other antennas, correct?
you just led me into my new scientific discovery with that comment. I found out somebody from Australia sent me a 5-year-old article from The Guardian in the UK about magneto. Look it up, guys. Magneto. And like biometric ink, it is made of metallic particles, but they're magnetic. They're magnetized.
hmm
And they are putting them into animals. This is like 5 years ago, it was reporting. And then they, with a pulse of electromagnetic energy from whatever, Wi-Fi, whatever,
hmm
doesn't matter where it comes from, they can control the animal's thoughts, feelings, what they see, what they hear, and more importantly, they can control their physical behavior. And at that point, they were making animals curl up in a ball. So, like fish would be swimming, swimming, swimming. They've been injected with magneto. Okay.
hmm
Important word to remember. It's an easy word to remember, too. Wasn't that like a villain in some cartoon recently? Wasn't he called Magneto or something? I kind of remember that, but I'm not sure which movie. You inject the magneto through an immunization in the fish, and you hit the electrical magnetic pulse at them, and they all curl up into balls. So the point is, when you do that and transfer that to humans, here's conspiracy theory 101, if you know that your financial system made of a Ponzi scheme of fractional reserve banking where you make up money out of air and lend it to people who then work and make that money real eventually is going to just collapse worldwide. And when it collapses worldwide, you're going to have massive riots when people can't afford food, right? That's
Yeah.
coming, right? Wouldn't you want to put a lot of magneto in all the people in the world so that if they march and protest, you just have to turn something on and they all curl up in a ball and fall to the ground?
Right.
Just like that. Boom.
And that's really
So
the extent of how far they think about stuff. They don't think about the other ramifications. And we see this over and over in history, even with the internet. They thought it was going to be this wonderful new age of control, right? Like the TV, right? Just another huge control mechanism. What did we do? We use it as a tool for awakening.
we used it as an awakening tool.
Right.
So
Yeah.
think about it. Now you've heard this today, and you're going to look into it, and you're going to keep your eyes and ears open. And as things happen in the future, it's going to help connect dots. And it's not to do it with fear and be afraid, but to then, now that you know about it, flip it. in a
Yeah.
way that it can actually benefit humanity and not hurt humanity.
So maybe we should tap into that grid today. That's what that would
Well,
be.
actually, this is the thing that they don't realize, but maybe they do because they studied the Monroe Doctrine, right? That people, our hearts can send out electromagnetic energy.
Way
So
stronger than anything they're
we,
doing. Yeah.
way stronger than anything they're doing. So we can actually
Hijack.
intend and affect the magneto in animals and people if that's what they're doing. I'm not saying they are.
Right.
I'm just saying I was amazed when I heard that this technology existed
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, you know?
And if they can
And
tap in, we can tap in.
if they can tap in, we can tap in and we can heal, right? And there's another doctor there's something called serum that's going around the internet, and it's supposed to be an antidote to the problems caused for those who decided to take the 1, 2, or 3
Mm-hmm.
doses. They're saying there is something called serum, and I don't know more about it, where it is or what it is,
Mm-hmm.
but there's always
Comes in pine
something.
needles or something.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Some, can't run around sticking yourself with pine needles, but it's something to look into.
Right.
If a loved one has had this and they're reacting to it, go look up serum.
Mm-hmm. Even the hydroxa, that full word you can actually,
Chloroquine.
right, you can actually go and one of the doctors tells you how to make that, or you can find out how to make it. You don't have to buy it or anything. I mean, it's something that you
It's
can,
also in tonic water,
right.
right? It
I'm not
is,
sure.
but
It
in
was,
low doses.
I want to say she said take some grapefruit rind or something. I can't remember what it was now. It was something that you can just go
That's
pick
what
up
tonic
and,
comes from, is from grapefruit rinds. That's why it's so bitter.
oh, okay. See, I
Yeah. It's
didn't
all
know.
connected, guys.
The
Yeah.
information's out there though, so I would recommend anybody
The
just,
information you need is out there.
yeah.
So go look for what you need,
And our
always with a
bodies are
positive.
so amazing when you give them what they need.
Oh man, and our higher selves, which are coming into these bodies, that is powerful medicine that can manipulate and change cells and heal. So, there's always remember when all those people were born with AIDS in Africa, and then suddenly children were being born of an AIDS father and an AIDS affected mother, immune to it. Immune to it. So, nature always finds a way. Life always finds a way. And I think that's from the Jurassic Park movie. Do you guys remember when he goes, life always finds a way?
Wow.
It's
Well,
true. It's true.
I don't know. I trust nutrition when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, and
I
I
don't want to
trust the
do something you
sun.
can't take back. You know what I mean? It's kind of like
No.
some treatments are like losing your virginity. There's just no going back once you have it. You know
Ah!
what I mean? So I'd
Well,
rather.
because Gates wants to block the sun out now with Harvard, and they're getting very close to getting approval for that. My little spidey senses go, why? Why do they want to block the sun? So I'm feeling that yes, the sun is changing, like the Mandela affected community has been saying, yeah,
Yeah.
and that the sun is affecting the evolution of our consciousness, and that the sun is helping to awaken our consciousness. So, because it's not getting terribly hot here. We're not in a greenhouse gas, are we? They have to have a reason to block out the sun, and if it's not because of heat, and all the planets are heating up at the same rate, that was a University of Wisconsin study.
Yeah.
That's no longer, you can't really read it anymore, but I read it, the whole study in 2016, that if all the planets are heating up, it might be going through dirty space. So just look up dirty space. I think Chris calls it the fluff, and other people call it other things.
Right.
And that friction of our solar system moving through
Yeah.
something is making everything heat up a little bit, but it's not intolerable, right?
Right.
We're not getting to the point where, we have to walk around in air-conditioned suits
Yeah.
24/7 to live.
Right. Maybe it's
So
that.
there's got to be another
the,
reason.
the suspicious observer guy. He calls it the galactic sheet or something that we're moving
Yep,
through.
same thing. Photon belt.
Yeah. So it's
I can't remember the guy's name. He always talked about the photon belt. He was a scientist out of California, and he was quite wacky.
that's interesting. They're
Talking.
talking about blocking out the sun, and I've been guided to run my bathwater in the sun and to get as much sun as I can. So that's
And put your water in the sun, however you like. Just make sure it's in glass,
yeah.
and let the water energize your sun. And then I go out and I walk the dog, and I do a sun meditation every time I walk, and I suck in the solar energy gratefully, the loving, healing, miraculous solar energy that without it, we would not have life here. Suck it into my etheric solar plexus chakra. That steps it down to put it into your physical solar plexus chakra, shoot it in and up all your chakras, open and spin them, clear and clean them, and then you energize them, heal them, and balance them. And you just do that while you're walking. You could be under the shade of a tree doing it because the sunlight is all around you, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to stand in direct sunlight to do it. You could do it from your armchair in your living room because the sunlight is all around you.
Yeah, if it's lighting up the room, it's getting in there.
It's getting in there.
Right,
just go ahead and suck it in with love and appreciation and let it clear and clean. Once I've cleared and cleaned all my chakras, I can do that in like 30 seconds. Okay? That's how fast it is now. Then I let it permeate out and radiate out and clear and clean, energize and heal all my different bodies. I have an etheric body. I have an astral body. I have a physical body, and I have a spirit body. And those tie into the etheric is mental, the astral is emotional, the physical is the one you can see that gets you to move around, right? And the spirit one is the one that you can feel that comes in and creates your whole life. I mean, some people call it soul, some people call it spirit, and some people say we have both a spirit and a soul. Have you heard of that? That might be Catholic. Have you heard that we have a spirit and we have a soul?
Yeah, depends on what denomination you're in, but there's a whole discussion about that, the soul and the spirit, and
being two different things. But I'm happy just to clear one of them as both, just hitting my spirit body or my soul body and clearing it with the rays of the sun.
But isn't there a parallel
with 2 minutes?
Isn't there a parallel that, because you see this whole discussion of the threefold, the three trinity, the three, what is it, the mind, body, spirit complex? If you're talking about
and it used to be male, female, and child. It biologically meant that you could create like God. God created you and the universe, and now you create like God in the dominion that God gave you by bringing male and female together to make a child. Right. So the Trinity
Father,
used
Son,
to be
Holy
the creation. Ghost. But it was never Father, Son, and Holy Ghost until the Abrahamic religions
really
took out the female part.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There was always male and female equals new life, creation.
Right. I always find that interesting that the word, like when you read a lot of the Gnostic texts, instead of it being like, it will say the Father, Mother.
Yes.
The Father, Mother.
The Father, Mother, because they knew that creation
was complete.
It's
of course,
like the
God's
particle in the wave. Okay,
right.
It's like the particle in the wave. Would you just want particles around?
Right.
Heck no. There'd be no movement. We need the waves.
Right.
So it's that duality, that balance of energy, the positive and the negative charge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to have both.
But I think that might correlate with, you've got the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit within ourselves, right? So you've got your higher self is like the Father, or their Father, Mother. We'll stick with the both. And then you've got your spirit, which is your Holy Spirit, which is sort of what your breath of life, the spirit is the breath. And then you've got the flesh, your like the Jesus part of you, which is your flesh, So there is sort of this parallel between those teachings. And you come across this three.
Very much parallels.
Yeah.
And if you think of the earth, flat or round, it doesn't matter, and just put the fingers up, and the fingers are the people, there is no separation between the bodies of the people and the material of the earth.
Just like
we come from the earth and we go back to the earth.
Except for about 250,000 people that are in the air at any given moment. Did you know that many people are flying all the time?
Oh, flying. Now that's interesting. So the thing that they would be in touch with is the Earth's magnetic Schumann resonance, the hum.
They're still in the hum, yeah.
They're in the hum, but their feet are not on the ground. Because I'm on the 3rd floor, but then the building is on the Earth. So technically I'm still touching the Earth.
Right. But you can do that with grounding, too. You don't actually, we've talked about that before. You can ground yourself on a plane,
Well, I want to share something with you guys that is an incredible, real quick manifestation intention story. So I have these different groups that I meet with to do crystal bowl meditations, to do a psychic circle, to do gongs with, and at one of them at Kathy's circle that we go to once a month to learn new metaphysical things and things about prayer and intention for the earth. I introduced them to Lynn McTaggart's The Power of 8, which we did here for 3 years, didn't we? And then we changed it once a month to The Power of 1 instead of every Saturday night. And we did it, and we did it with a lot of emotion, and about 12 people maybe in the room, in a, sitting in a circle. And I say circles because they're important. Sacred geometry, the circle is the first form. The circle is a very important sacred geometry form. So that's why people sit in circles a lot of times, because they want to amplify that energy. They want to get it going, the vortex going, right? And one of the people present, a very good friend named Angela, said, I've been working with sex trafficked girls nearby in a town, and I would love for us to do an intention to heal them all worldwide. So we did a quick power of 1 or power of 8. And it was the power of 8 with Lynn Taggart. She taught us how to do it. And now we do our own little version of it, slightly differently, that we call the power of 1, where we all become one. So we did it, and we said we wanted to expose all human trafficking and all sex trafficking, because there's 2 different things. They bring people in to be slaves in households and clean toilets forever, and they can't get out of that, or they bring them in for other reasons. So, and we wanted them all exposed. The people who are doing it, we want them exposed to the public so all can see. It's no longer hidden. And in that way, we can end it and also heal those who have been victims of it. And it was a very emotional intention, and it felt very powerful afterwards. And we're like, oh, we got to shake that off, like we do here sometimes. We're like, whoa, that was deep, right? And 3 weeks later, I live near Naples. The mayor of Naples announced that the sheriff of the local county of Collier County, this is alleged, okay? The mayor alleged through mainstream media that he was running a child prostitution ring through our local municipal airport, flying people in for people and flying them back out. Wow. Right, kind of like a Jeffrey Epstein Island thing. And I was like, whoa. And now the reason she was in the news 2 days ago, let's see, it was on the 19th. It was Wink's News on May 19th announced this locally to the world. And the reason they announced it was she was then being tailed by police 24/7 to see if she was going to do something wrong. She was being accused by colleagues in City Hall, because she is the mayor, right, of deleting emails like Hillary Clinton, of misappropriating funds for her, for her office. And that was 3/4 of the news story. So you're thinking, wow, we might have a corrupt mayor here. And then at the bottom, the last paragraph that most people don't get to, because that was called burying the lead. This is what should have been the first paragraph. It said, all of this occurred after she publicly filed a complaint of a child sex trafficking ring in our town, our nearby town, our closest town, and airport. Now, that should have been number 1. And I sent that around to the people who did the intention, and they were like, I got chills. They got, oh my God, Eileen, it works. We sat and we passionately prayed that it gets exposed and the people and the players are exposed. Now, I'm not saying he did it, and I'm not saying that she's right. Maybe she's the corrupt one. I'm just saying it happened 3 weeks after our very, very intense power of 1, power of 8 intention to expose it, heal it, fix it. Let's wash it away. Let's clean it and heal those who have been involved on both ends. The perpetrators and the victims need to be healed.
Absolutely, yeah.
Their souls need healing, right?
And I think for many people, anybody that I talk to long enough, privately long enough, that's at the top of everyone's list. Nobody can really talk about it, but it's at the top of our list. But that's what we're all working towards. The kids.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not accusing anybody here. Right. I'm reading the news, and the news is saying this, and I'm repeating exactly what the news said. And I'll probably put a link to that news article for people to go read so that they can understand it a little bit more. If we can affect our local community that powerfully within 3 weeks, so the people who were most interested in it have now contacted me and said, can we do this every week? We can't get together in the same space. Can we get a Zoom going? And can 4 of us sit together and once a week live on Zoom intend for something powerful for our world, for our children, for our health, for our safety, for our food, for our air, for our water, just like we do here.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yes, that's just one more group that I'm joining, but I'm sharing it with you guys so that you can contact a few family members and close friends and say, hey, let's get together if we can once a week for 30 minutes and together do one intention, one, something that benefits the entire community or the entire world or both. Do the
Yeah.
community and the world. And the more of us that get these little pockets going, you've got us here once a month and we do it together and we love it. But now think of the brain and how the synapses go with the electrical currents. We need to spread that out all around the world with little pockets doing it once a week, who then come back together here once a month and get refreshed and recharged, right? And then they go out and they do their group intentions wherever they live, like once a week.
Mm-hmm.
You could do it with two people. Where two or more are gathered, so there am I. Okay, so that's your third energy. That's your Trinity. You got your
I
Trinity.
think it
If
has
you
to be
bring
2 or 3 now.
Yeah, isn't that weird? But wasn't it with two or more?
Right.
Wasn't it two or more, guys?
No, it was 2 or more. I'm just
In
being
my
funny.
head.
I love
now
when somebody taps into the old timeline, as it were. But yeah, it's like, the truth will make you free. People do it all the time with the truth will set you free. That's a good one.
Well, I'm sorry. The truth will set you free. It's not going to make you anything, but it will set you free.
Right.
So I'm just encouraging everybody. It works. It really works. It's very powerful. You're going to get shocked and surprised at what happens after your intention group. What happens in your community. You're going to be like mouth dropping. Just like, did that really just happen?
Right.
So.
Yeah, you know what? And I feel you, Chozo Sapien saying if they want to be better. But, you can look at sort of an insane person. They might not want to be better, but they're not in their right mind. And that kind of gets us back to what Jesus said, forgive them for they know not what they do. I don't think anybody in their right mind would do what these people are doing. I mean,
that's kind of my theory too. That gets me around the hate and damnation and we got to punish them. Like I've been there a lot.
Right.
And when you realize that you have to be really mentally ill to do to others what other people are doing to others right now. And, it's not like all love and kisses and hugs and, oh, yeah, we don't care for what you did. That's
we're not
true.
saying take them off the hook, let them off the hook for anything.
But their souls need healing because there's something wrong. The fact that they're willing to do these things means there's something wrong in the spirit, in the soul that needs healing. What else was it like? In Aramaic, look up the word Satan. The actual origin of the word Satan means confused.
Mm.
So anything that is associated with Satan is confused. And that reminds me of Jesus saying, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Like they don't know. They're confused.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the other word for that? Wasn't sin originally something about like not ignorant, a different word than ignorant.
Mm.
It's when you act out of alignment with God. You act out of alignment with your soul.
Ignorance keeps coming to mind. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
If you look up the etymology, the origin of some of our words, they really show that people who can do terrible things to the earth or animals or other people, they're not well. Mm-mm. They're not balanced.
They're not seeing clearly. They're blind. They're not seeing clearly. Their actions. That's really any time we're doing anything that we shouldn't be doing. We're blinded. If we could have a clear view of the ramifications and the results of our actions, we wouldn't do them if they're.
It's very hard to forgive the perpetrators, but A Course in Miracles teaches you that when you forgive everybody and you forgive yourself and you hold true forgiveness in your heart, then you have forgiven the perpetrators as well. Mm-hmm. That's just, there isn't a forgiveness for the good people, but not a forgiveness for the bad people. There is either forgiveness or there isn't forgiveness. Mm-hmm. So that's a really important Course in Miracles.
Oh, I love that, Morgan. She's saying con, against, fused, together.
Being against being together, right. Being against unity.
Confused. That's perfect.
Oh, I
I
like
love
that.
that.
Thank you, Morgan.
Misguided. That's another one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Miss and guided. Yeah, these are oxymorons. They're two words, meanings put together that mean the opposite, like
Right.
jumbo shrimp.
Right.
It's like opposite things being put together,
Yeah.
miss and guided. When you're
Right.
guided, you're guided.
Right. That's funny.
So I just wanted to share that with you and hope that it inspires just a few of you to go out and create what we do here in your environment with people that you love and trust, whether it's friends or family, and do it locally. And you will see miracles occur in your local community because of what you're doing.
I love that. Yeah, I think we should maybe extend it to here if you feel like it. I think that's awesome because we got to
How
just extend your whole. I don't know if you can word it in a way that's but just that things get revealed, that healing takes place with these victims, and you know
do you want to do that today? Do you guys want to carry on and
that's like I
and
said at the top of all of our list. Really, you know what I mean?
then
Because
I heard, I'm sure you guys heard about it. Check the chat. I also heard on the same day, and I'm not watching a lot of news because news is just too, I don't watch a lot of it, but I want to know what's going on, but I don't want to be in it and
right.
absorbing it. So I heard that 3 planes in Chattanooga were found full of children from the border being
Wow.
delivered to Chattanooga, but at night by the government at night. And so the stories that I read said, well, where are they going in Chattanooga? Why Chattanooga? And why 3 planes of children being delivered at night, not during the day?
They just
So
stumbled across this,
yeah,
or
I
was it
stumbled
part of a
across
sting?
it.
No, I mean
I,
the people who found the airplane. Was it a
and it was
sting
in
or
the
was it
news.
okay?
It was in the news. No, the news just said they got a tip that planes were landing in different cities just full of children from the border. I mean, I do struggle without seeing it with my own eyes to imagine
Hmm.
that literally thousands of children are coming through the border every day. I just don't understand that. I have trouble with that.
Yeah.
And then I have to go, well, fear sells and fear is necessary for division. So which stories are true and which ones are designed just to evoke fear,
Right,
right?
and then or to distract, because if you're looking at
Or
the
to
border for the
distract.
children, then you're not looking wherever maybe they are,
At the
right?
Arizona recount. Yeah, the Arizona recount
Right,
has been
yeah.
really important. And there's been a lot of anomalies found
Hmm.
in
And now
Arizona.
Georgia's popping on the scene.
Now
It's
Georgia's.
taken forever. I mean, they've really drugged their feet on this whole thing, and it's
So
so
this could all
ridiculous.
be distraction to, oh God, the Gates Epstein thing. Okay, but that's total distraction. I'm listening to truthers who are like, oh my God. And that's all they're talking about. And I'm like, con op, because the Epstein thing was during the Epstein thing. We knew the Clinton connection. We knew the Gates connection. We knew the celebrities on the flight log. We knew Trump went there 4 times and then banned Epstein from all of his golf courses.
Hmm.
So he was the only one who went and said, hey, something's not right here, and said, you can't come on my property. So that was a positive thing. So the fact that they're going down that avenue now, to me, is distraction. It's all distract, distract, distract.
Also, another distraction they might hit us with, because it's coming up again, because they're supposedly going to do the big reveal, the big disclosure of information. But and thank you, Family Light, because you just brought it back to my attention.
Thank you, Family
Aliens,
Light. Yeah.
aliens.
Disclosure is coming. Everything is, the government is going to disclose either on June 1st or in June that the aliens are here, they're real, and they're a very serious threat to humanity. So lock your doors.
And another
Don't come outside.
another example of here they're distracting you, saying, hey, disclosure's coming, but disclosure has been here already. You can find the information out there, and if you're expecting MSM to tell you about it, I don't know, you're not going to find
They're not
it
going to
there.
tell you anything new. I've seen a lot of the videos of the craft that the Navy has of ships going in and out of the water, and the Tic Tac. Remember the famous Tic Tac craft? So they're not going to tell you anything you don't already know. Ancient Aliens did the disclosure job for the past 15 years. There is probably nobody on the planet or Earth plane that doesn't think, Oh, yeah, aliens. Yeah, we got visitors. They're watching us, they're studying us. Some people say, we're working with them as individuals. They can heal us, they can help us, but you have to ask. The prime directive means they can't come and interfere, you know, in our evolution. So, but then you read that book by Ray Hernandez, whom you had on, Beyond UFOs, The Science of Consciousness and Contact with Non-Human Intelligence, Volume 1. 800 fascinating pages of 5,000 contactees worldwide. And nobody said they took me and tortured me. Nobody said that out of 5,000.
It's crazy.
Do you
Yeah, but
remember? They said
yeah,
like
yeah,
15% said, well, they took me and I was really scared, but then they put me back and I was fine.
right.
So
Or they healed
nothing bad
something with them.
happened. Yeah.
Or they had a magical or miraculous healing or something else that was actually beneficial to them, or they fixed the
Yeah,
problem
like
they were
over
having.
20% had a healing because they asked for it. Or was it 50%? I can't remember now. All those numbers
I
are
know it was
jumbled right
far
now.
more positive than they put off in the
You
news.
guys, you got to get that book and you got to read it because it's from the horse's mouth. It's from the people around the world who are not famous and selling a book or a conference who have contact. And they're going to tell you what it's like. And even with reptilians and even with grays. So you know how we got like space cowboys everywhere going, there's a war out there and there's good aliens and bad aliens, which I'm sure there are.
Hmm.
That makes sense if there's good and bad aliens. But that war, according to the contactees on Earth who are in touch with their cosmic family on a regular basis, is not happening. The war is on Earth. The war is here. It's not in space.
There's a few. April's asking, do I think it's going to be the blue
Hey,
beam
April.
technology?
Yeah. Yeah, because I see all the black triangles flying over me near the Everglades, but that's because there's I think it's the Homestead Air Force Base over by Miami. So if you look up TR3B patent, you will see we have the patent for the black triangle, and the black triangle has technology to become invisible to what's that called when you cover yourself
Cloak.
with cloak. It can cloak itself. I've seen
Hmm.
it half cloaked, half uncloaked, fully uncloaked, you know, and it also has the ability to produce plasma in
Hmm.
any shape. Like it could create a plasma cross and fly across over the sky, or, it can create the appearance of light on a flyby. And I think that's how they're going to do Project Bluebeam. I don't know if they're going to shoot a
Or
beam
use it
out.
to make it look like the return of Christ or something more.
Yeah.
I think with these ships, though, I think they'll probably just use their own and pretend like they're alien to pull something off, and you know what I mean.
Well,
If it's
that's the
something more,
typical FF, the
right,
false
right,
flag that everybody has been doing since, uh, didn't Nelson's War do that? Like, there was a famous war. You guys can look it up. My memory full of all of these historical incidences where they took down their flag and they flew another country's
right,
flag and then they attacked a country. That's
right,
where the term comes from.
right.
So that the country would think, oh, this country is trying to get us, but
So it's
really
a
it wasn't them. It
provocation
was
for
a
war, and, right,
it was
right,
a different country
yeah.
pretending to be that country, right?
Family
So,
Light saying the 144,000 ascended. Has anybody else been getting the 144 lately? A lot.
I've been getting 444,
Four for
loads
four.
of 444. Yep. Or 44s or 144s. I just get them constantly now.
Right.
How about
The
you guys?
144 has really picked up for me. Well, I had 144,000 miles on my car, so I had like that whole thousand to deal with, right? So that was one thing. So it kept coming up there because of that. But even one day I was tapping out a beat to see the pace of it, and it was 144 beats per minute. Because I was beating it out double time or whatever, and it's coming up naturally. But and then I'd heard 3 or 4 other people talking about, wow, it's been coming up a lot for me too. So I thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, I think, yeah, and I'm not sure if it is actually 144,000 or 144 million, because the Bible used to say 40 days and 40 nights, and everything was 40 because 40 was considered an epoch, which was a human's lifespan.
Hmm.
They thought 40 was a lifetime.
So it's like saying a lifetime. I even
It's like
heard
saying a lifetime.
I heard this guy in the bookstore talk about that here locally. He was like, oh, the 40. A lot of times it's like when they say he spent a lifetime without food. Not technically 40 days, but it seemed like a lifetime. So he might not have fasted technically 40 days when he went into the wilderness. Jesus, you know. It might have just been like he left for a long time and he didn't eat while he was gone. It's kind of
And it
like,
rained for 40 days and 40 nights in the Gilgamesh epic Sumerian tale and the Bible of Noah. So yeah, you know, some of the numbers I take symbolically, but then you see them and you're like, okay, it reminds you, it tells your sleeping brain, the brain that thinks in symbols, gets a communication every time it sees a number.
very cool.
So, you know, my sister was saying she wanted to do an intention where we awaken our cosmic star family here on Earth to connect without fear and know why they came here for this period. So that was one thing that she would like us to do at some point. It doesn't have to be today, you know, is to awaken the star seed on the planet to actually know not only why they're here, but what they're supposed to do. Because a lot of people are running around going, well, all this is going on. What am I supposed to do? And then sometimes I just say, well, just being here with your influence on your family and friends is enough. You're changing the earth just by being here.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. Every breath you take and every word you speak, every thought you think and every feeling you feel is changing the world, the collective, the matrix.
And it's really our job to stay grounded and keep our vibrations right. And we're affecting it from a consciousness perspective. You know what I mean?
Yep. Without burying our heads in the sand
Right.
and saying we refuse to see, hear, speak, or see what's going on
We're
around us.
seeing
We
more
got to
of the
see it,
picture.
but then we got to emulate that love.
Yeah.
We got to see what's going on. And in order to heal it, we have to give it the forgiveness and the love. If we don't see it because we're protecting our own feelings, we therefore can't heal it, fix it, love it, or forgive it. We can't do our job if we don't see it. So there's that balance. There's that balance beam that we're doing where we don't want to see it enough and get involved enough that it brings us down so we cannot feel our love and our forgiveness anymore. But we don't want to go run and sit in a closet and go, I wish I never came here. Beam me up, Scotty. Take me out of here. This is not the place for me either, because then we're not giving our love to heal
Right.
the collective and
And
the
some
here
people,
now.
you know, I come across people that can't look at it at all. I'm like, well, you don't have to look at it. I'll let you know if there's something you need to look at. Just
Yeah, you
stay
can
in your
still,
zone of creation and your vortex of creation and happiness and joy and peace and all of that stuff.
and
And
that's emulating energy. That is
yeah,
feeding the collective beautiful energy.
because there is like a hump you have to get over. You know, you have to sort of pull away from that stuff, and then you have to be able to face it, but then look beyond it to see the purpose it's serving or the end result that's going to come from some of the things you see. And that's where your
Well,
eyes are
that's
sort of broadened even more, you know, your perspective.
it's hard. It's not easy to have a foot in both camps, but and you don't have to. If it's too painful, then focus on your part of bringing love and peace and joy to those around you, which also raises the vibration of the collective. You don't have to do it. Everybody doesn't have to be the brain cell or the lung cell or the liver cell or the kidney cell. Everybody can have their own way of doing things, and it's totally up to you.
Hmm.
But a lot of people say this we're shifting, we're going into different versions of Earth, and this is a terrible one, and this is getting scary, and this is not a good one. I want to go back to the one I was on before. And I'm like, well, think about it. The one you were on that you think you were on before, if in terms of timelines, which really we don't shift and jump into new timelines. They're all here at once, right?
Hmm.
We just change our focus to get onto a timeline. It's a matter of focusing. It seemed all hunky dory, but behind the curtains and underground, all of this stuff was simmering. It was all happening, but not out in the open where anybody could heal it or change it or
Hmm.
fix it. But it was all there.
Yeah.
So would you rather be on a timeline where you think everything's hunky dory, but really it's not? And it just goes that way forever, or for a very long time? Or would you rather be on the timeline where anything behind the refrigerator
Right. I
is
was thinking the same
exposed?
thing. Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
pull it out, deal with the dirt, but it's
So
clean
you
after
can
that.
deal
Yeah.
with the dirt, clean it up, fix it, heal it, Would you rather be in the experience where it's exposed so you can fix it? And many people would say, well, that's the better timeline
Yeah.
because In the other one, they never get anywhere. They never fix it. They never evolve. Consciousness never awakens.
Hmm.
They just sleep through life thinking everything's hunky-dory, and it never is. But on this one, they're waking up. They're seeing what's going on. They're changing it. They're fixing it. They're healing it.
Well, your sister's tapped in because it just came to me that, we've talked before, you don't want to really claim the problem within the meditation, right? Because then you're
No.
sort of perpetuating the problem.
Perpetuating the problem.
But if we do your sister's idea, we know there's starseeds, there's light workers on both sides. Probably, maybe they haven't awakened to how they're going to play a big part. Maybe they're a truck driver that's part of this underground network, and they don't know what to do. Maybe they don't even know what they're doing. Maybe they just discover what they're doing. I mean, it doesn't even matter. But whether they're a victim, whether they're anywhere in the chain of people or any law enforcement involved with it, if people realize their mission, your sister's idea, I mean, if they get in contact with their higher self, their star family, and know their mission and get the assistance and realize they even have assistance, because a lot of times we don't ask. We have tons of resources, limitless resources that our star family, our higher self, our God, Holy
Or
Spirit,
angels.
angels,
A lot of
whatever.
people say, I want to get my guidance from angels and I want assistance from angels.
Exactly.
Go to your angels.
Right.
Go to the
angels.
angels.
I kind of see them as one and the same, so I wasn't trying to leave them out, but I see.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you do. I know you
Right.
do. And I was just saying, well, some people are like, well, I'm afraid I don't want to ask for cosmic assistance from an alien, but I will ask it from an angel.
Right.
Right? That makes me feel safe.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you guys want to do that today?
I love that idea because, I mean, that ties in with.
It's right before disclosure.
Yeah, it ties in with everything. And it's something that, even within whatever worldview you're in, you can join in. And, we do want a stronger connection with our higher power, whatever that is, and our guidance and our purpose and our mission. Clarity.
And also, instead of, because we always meditate and get ask for guidance from our higher selves, let's step further beyond that and say, let's get some help from either the universe, God, our cosmic family, or angels.
For the most benevolent outcome for all. And that's
for all concerned.
Yeah.
We can just include wherever you feel comfortable going to your ancestors, to your guides, your angels, or I'm very comfortable going to my cosmic family because I have a lot of real-time memories with them. Yeah. So I'm happy to ask for that for me, but not for you. You get to choose.
And we all can agree on the end result, that we all want to have more clarity about what we should do, more assistance.
We want to know why we're here and what we're supposed to do. And maybe just feel comfortable with just being here and knowing that being here is doing it. Maybe that's important for some people.
Right.
To know that just by being here, you are affecting consciousness. You're raising the awakening. You're making it go faster.
Let's even ask for a little sign for people.
Okay.
A little sign that will have.
Got to remember that. Okay. Ask for a little sign that will tell them what? That they are receiving help.
Right.
They are receiving help, guidance.
As a confirmation on whatever they receive. Yeah. So if your job is to just be here, maybe you'll get a confirmation of what that is. Or if you're supposed to maybe go help out in a certain area you've been thinking about, you'll get a little confirmation, a door open or whatever, So we'll just leave it kind of open, but you'll get
you guys, if you're feeling frustrated and you're feeling like, oh, I'm just not knowing what I'm supposed to do, take an action. And it doesn't have to be the right action. Go volunteer at a food bank. Go give food to a food bank. Go volunteer at an animal shelter. Go walk the animals in these cages all day long. Or pet the cats. Do something that makes you feel like, oh my God, I am doing something. Even if it's small, it's going to give you that relief of not feeling anxious that you're not doing enough. Right?
Absolutely.
And
which is actually serving the opposite purpose, because you want to be in your joy, you want to be high vibe, and if you're sitting there worried that you're not doing your job, it's actually pulling you down just worrying about it. You know what I mean?
And a lot of people with what's going on in the political, social arena are getting anxious.
Everything.
And they're like, well, it's just causing anxiety.
That's why I really recommend, finding that thing where whether it's writing, dancing, music, singing,
meditating, praying,
just getting out in nature. Most of that stuff, you have to be tuned into a source of media to get bombarded with it, you know.
Yeah. A bug just flew by me. I'm like, is my door open? Oh, well, we're going to be meditating with a bug here. It was a big one, but that's okay. I'm all right. I live with bugs.
Okay. You won't start screaming in the middle of the meditation or anything,
No,
right?
I capture and release. So I'm pretty okay with them, you know? And it's like if you park your car in the shade, your car fills with spiders because it's really hot out there and they go in the car in the shade to cool off. And then when you're driving at night, they're like hanging right over your head. And you're like, oh my God, do not freak out. Keep driving. It's a friendly spider just taking a ride.
Right. I got to tell you about this because you've done the cloud busting. You've done the bird thing, haven't you? We talk about the bird flocks of
What's the
birds
bird thing?
where you
I've done the
can
cloud
where
busting
you
where
can
you
tap into
dissolve
the
clouds.
the flock consciousness. It doesn't work on the bigger birds, so I guess they're kind of more independent. But if
Oh
you,
no, yeah, I have. I've tapped into hawks.
okay,
And I'll close my eyes out on the balcony, and then I can see what the hawk sees as the
mm.
hawk is flying. Is that what you mean?
Now
To
this
go
is more
into
like
the
you're watching the flock fly across the sky. You sort of tap into the consciousness, and you feel going the other direction, and they'll follow what you're feeling, like one way and the other.
Oh
So I thought we talked about this. So
no.
it works with flies too. Whenever I have a fly, like they'll be like flying around the front window, I'll go over to the front door. I'll just envision it. I'll like kind of feel like I'm it, and I'm seeing the door open, and I'm going towards the light, and I'm flying out, and they'll fly right out. So you
They'll
can
fly
do it.
right out.
Yeah. So you
But
can do it
you
with
do it not by seeing the fly out. You do it by being in the fly's
right.
brain
Exactly.
and seeing the fly out.
Right.
So I do it by like we get hawks, occasionally eagles, blackbirds, bluebirds,
Right.
blue jays, woodpeckers flying around our lake. And I will just close my eyes and go into the consciousness of the bird so I can see what the bird sees. And I can just see the direction they're
I
going.
love
I
that.
can
Like the
see what's
Beastmaster.
underneath
Do you
them.
guys remember that movie or show? The Beastmaster? Where
No.
he was actually blind. He had these two ferrets he would carry around with him, and he would see by seeing through whatever animal was in it.
Yes, I think I do remember that from the
Yeah.
70s. Was
He
that
had
the
the blonde
70s or
hair.
80s?
Yeah, I think 80s.
TV show?
Yeah, like one of his sidekicks was the dad from Good Times. I can't.
Okay. So yeah, it's like that. It's just jumping into a bird's
Hmm.
consciousness, not taking over their brain, not pushing them out, and just enjoying the vision of what they're seeing.
Yeah, it's almost like on Avatar where they merge with the animal, But this
Yeah,
is
and
more.
quite often the hawk or whatever bird I'm watching will then change its trajectory and come right to me and fly right over my head or right around me because it's sensing that I'm hitching a ride. It's like, hang on a minute. Oh, there she is. And it flies over just to check me out. Like who's hitching a ride with me?
Right.
It's like it knows.
That's good, April. April saying, I do that with wasps, asking them to fly out in the name of Jesus. Amen to
You
that.
guys, I got to do that because I'm running around with a piece of paper and a glass or a bowl
It's
trying to
fun.
catch these things, going, come on, and then releasing them. Takes
Yeah,
ages.
it gets actually pretty easy. The other day, I went over by the front door, and my daughter was standing there. I was like, come on, little fella. And I opened the door, and it flew out, and she was like, what
Oh
the?
my, how did you do that? Well, you know what my husband used to do? He used to sit and put his finger out if there were butterflies in the area, and one would come land on the tip of his finger. And I'm like, how did you do that? And he goes, I don't know. It would have landed anywhere. I'm just looking like a branch. And I'm like, no, no. Somehow he
He
did it many
visualized it, and
times.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he did it many times and just held his finger still, straight out like a tree branch. And you have to do it when there's butterflies in the area and you see them. And you're like, okay, I want that one to sit on my finger.
That's cool.
That is cool. Okay, so shall we do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, guys.
And really, the
I'm
only
gonna
addition was asking for some confirmation, and that could show up any kind of
confirmation.
way. Yeah,
Thank you for the reminder. Asking at the end for confirmation.
yeah. That way,
Okay.
everyone
All
has
right.
their. And then you guys can chime in the comments below, or check back in and tell what your
Yeah, next
confirmation
month,
was.
tell us if
Yeah,
you got some confirmation. And then consider doing like a power of 8. Get the book from Lynn McTaggart. It's a wonderful book. And you just need one other person or more,
hmm
one or more other person to join with you to do some miraculous changes and healings in your community.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
powerful. We didn't
It's
realize how powerful it was.
powerful. It is powerful. Okay. I'm going to go quiet and silent, take a drink of water, move my mic closer. So I'll be right back.
Oh, ready?
Okay, guys. So, just moving stuff around on my table here. Take a nice, deep, relaxing breath with your eyes open or closed. Make sure you're somewhere safe that you don't need to concentrate and you can kind of relax and let go and just enjoy the moment of a little guided meditation to help all of us connect with our cosmic family or our angels or the archangels or our spirit guides or our ancestors, our deceased loved ones who are around us, our deceased pets. Or let's see, what else have we got? We've got so much help available to us, and it's always on the ask and you shall receive basis. So that's what we're going to do today. So take a nice, deep, relaxing breath in. Really fill up your lungs past their normal breathing capacity and exhale. Let it all out. Let the tension go anywhere in your body or your mind. And take another deep, relaxing breath in. Really just fill it up, hold it, oxygenate your body, and exhale fully. Let it out. And we'll just do one more deep breath in as much as you like. Fill up your lower lungs, your tummy extends, and exhale completely. And now we are going to imagine breathing in and out of our heart center. You can put your hand on your heart just to remind you of where you're taking the breath in and the breath out. Kind of a natural pace that feels comfortable. Don't hold it, don't rush it. And if you like, you can add a color, a sparkling, clear, clean, healing color to the in breath that fills up your body and the out breath with the color going back out into your room or environment. And know that whatever color is going in through your heart center is actually healing your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, and your spirit body. It's the color that you need right here, right now. And we're going to imagine being somewhere in nature. Now picture it, hear it, see it, feel it, smell it, sense it. Really immerse yourself in somewhere beautiful, peaceful, relaxing, calm. It could be a real place you've been, like a hike in the woods, or maybe a mountain that you visited. It could be a beach. It could be a grassy hill that you just like to lay down on and look at the clouds floating by. It could be an imaginary place, like a crystal cave with a waterfall and a lot of green ivy on the walls. Just really immerse yourself in the complete peace of being in and connected to and with nature. And now, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and send a grounding cord down from your root chakra at the base of your spine, all the way down through the many, many different layers and levels and strata of the earth. Send it down, down, down until it reaches the center of the earth, the core, the heart. Now watch it spread out in all directions like the roots of a tree, grounding you securely to earth energy. Now that you are completely protected and loved and grounded, we're going to intend and imagine and pray together that we each individually connect with those who can help us right here and right now. And those who can help us right here and right now in our mission, in our destiny, in our reason for coming here. That could be God that you're connecting with. It could be the universal intelligence that you're connecting with. It could be the angels, the archangels. You choose. You choose many of them if you like, more than one. It could be your spirit guides. It could be your ancestors, deceased loved ones, or it could be archangels, angels, or your cosmic family, family out there who are here with us now, who are here to help us if we ask for the help, who are here to guide us if we seek their guidance. So now is the time, as a group of loving beings connected in the here now, and including all those who hear this in the future. You're here with us now, and we're with you now. We ask that we not only know and understand what it is we are meant to do in the here now, if there is something we came here for, to do, to accomplish, to give, to contribute. But we also ask for a sign in our daily lives, in our community, in our homes, something gentle and peaceful and loving that tells us, yes, this is why I came here. This is what I'm meant to do. This is why I'm in the here now, and I feel comfortable with my contribution, my love, my forgiveness, my participation, especially with what's coming up, with disclosure on the verge of official, authoritative government disclosure. How can we help? How can we help that process awaken even more people to their full potential and to the full potential of Earth as a collective? What can we do to help disclosure awaken even more souls into this cosmic, quantum, loving consciousness awakening? No fear, only love. No anger, only forgiveness. Helping to heal those of us around us and those of us in the collective, all of humanity, all of Earth, the entire matrix in which we are all connected to our cosmic families, and we are connected through that energy to all beings, be they animal or other, in the universe, in the multiverse, across the dimensions. So just go silent now for 3 minutes to kind of sit in your heart energy. Sit in your heart chakra and ask your loved ones, your guides, your cosmic family, the angels, what is my purpose here now? What can I do to help? How may I serve? And we'll come back in 3 minutes and ask for that sign. Ask for that sign of confirmation that you have been heard and it has been, you are being guided. Okay, so now you're just going to start to come back from a really relaxing, restful, and rejuvenating, restorative meditation. And as you start to move your neck and your shoulders, your feet, your arms, you're feeling energized and you are ready to face the day and every day knowing that you are guided. You are guided in doing whatever it is you came here to do. And you are already succeeding at that just by being here. Just by talking to people and being with people and interacting with the environment and the animals and the people, you are changing it. You are awakening it and you are filling it with more love and more compassion. So go ahead and open your eyes and be fully back.
Alrighty, that was beautiful. Man, I was filled with chills and tingles a lot of the time. Like, I don't know, like our family was giving me a confirmation during the meditation. Was anyone else feeling the chills?
What'd you guys feel in the chat? I was totally relaxed and peaceful. I was on a bliss trip. I was like, oh, this is blissful. I felt tremendous happiness. I'm really buzzing right now. I'm really happy.
Yeah. Feels very good.
I can't wait to hear next month what signs you received that confirm that you are being guided and that you're doing what you came here to do.
Oh, you know what? We forgot to show those pictures. Let me go to that really fast.
We covered so much stuff today.
I know. This is so wild. Okay, let's see. It's right here. Okay.
So if you zoom in on just the orb, I don't know if you can do that because I don't and off the person, I don't know if you can zoom in enough to just get on the orb.
That's as far as it goes right there.
Oh, okay. So this was at a campfire crystal bowl meditation with my friend Kimberly, and she does it once a month. It is amazing. And my friend Kathy, who is a professional psychic, just popped up and took this picture of a beautiful kind of pinkish orb floating near the fire. That is a definite orb. That's nice and round. It's very elemental.
I wish I could get even closer to it. It looks like it could have a face in it or something.
It looks like it could have a face in it.
And I can't point at it with my mouse because as soon as I let go, it goes off the screen. So.
Oh, okay. Well, if everybody can see it, there's like it's kind of pinkish white.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious. A lot of pictures were taken by Kathy that day, and that orb was just there in that one. It wasn't like a spot on the camera in every picture.
No, it almost looks like it's moving a little bit. You can see.
Yeah, it was definitely moving, and that's a still shot.
Yeah.
So a video, I mean, that's a perfect moment of taking a picture.
Yeah. Let's see here.
And then there's Kimberly, and I think that is a lens flare of the fire. Do you think that's the fire over her head?
Yeah, that's really cool looking though, isn't it?
It is so cool looking. I'm like, what is floating over Kimberly's head? Also taken by Kathy. Thank you, Kathy.
It almost looks like a elephant or something.
Is it the fire upside down?
Yep.
Look at the shape of the fire.
Yeah, it's a reverse of the fire. But that is cool looking. Matter of fact, I noticed it in the other one. You can see it's right here. See, remember we talked about it'll always be opposite of the light source. So,
and upside down, apparently.
Yeah, so it's a reverse. So if this fire had moved to here, this would have moved to here. So they're opposite
But look
each
at the pink orb circle around the fire. Do you see that pink circle?
Yeah.
Now that's an unusual anomaly because that's not in the other picture. See the pink? Just zoom in on it. I'm not saying that's an orb, but it seems to be throwing off. You know how the sun sometimes throws off a halo?
Right.
Right?
That's wild.
I see a circle there.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other one didn't have that.
Which could mean that a pink orb that we see there has gotten close to the camera and she's shooting the next picture through the orb. Right. Look at it that way.
Yeah.
And think that the orb is right in front of her lens. See?
Yeah.
And it's not around the fire, it's just in front of the lens.
No, it looks like it comes all the way down here like
All
this.
the way down, perfect circle.
You can almost see another one here.
You can see another one above it, and that is
Yeah.
not really around the fire from the other
Mm-mm.
photos that we took.
No, but it's more of
So
a
just wanted
smooth
to share
gradient.
some orb photos. That group, last time we got together, I called on my cosmic family to come and show us that they were there.
Hmm.
I really wanted them to show for this group because it's incredible meditations that we're doing in once a month at Kimberly's, and her crystal bowl playing sends us to another place. I
Yeah.
mean, so does my other friends who do them, the gongs. Dana does the gongs, and then Lucy does the crystal bowls in her shop, Altered Elements, and they all play differently, and they all send us through different dimensions. They all have a wonderful effect on our minds, our bodies, and our souls, but they're all a little different,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I did get a flyby like Isetti, where there was a single, very large, very bright white light flying directly overhead slowly, and it was too slow to be a satellite, and it was too big to be a satellite, and it wasn't flashing like an airplane. It reminded me of our Isetti trips, right?
That's awesome.
And I tapped the girl next to me, Yuri, who's about like 25 years old. And I said, Yuri, look up. It's a ship. Because I told them before the meditation I would try to call my cosmic family and see if it worked, if they'd show up for us. And Yuri saw it. And as soon as she looked up, it blinked out. I'm like, where did it go? Open sky, just no clouds. And 1 minute, this bright, close,
Did you see it
large.
before it blinked
Yes.
out?
And I went, oh no, you missed it. It blinked out. And I felt like maybe it didn't want to be seen by anybody but me. And she goes, no, I saw it. And then it blinked out. So I was like, thank God she saw it, because now she knows I'm not the only one seeing lights in the sky, right?
Right. And she
Only
knows
me.
you're not crazy. Like, look, oh, it just happened to
Look at
go
this
away when you
light.
look. But that happens so much. So many times, like, I don't want to grab my camera or go try to get anybody because you feel like you're going to
It
miss
won't be
it.
there. You'll
Right.
miss it. It won't be there when you get back with your
No, I've
camera.
never had a time that I had time to go get a camera, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Even a lot of times,
Unless
you don't
it's,
even have time to get your phone out of your pocket and fool around
I
with it, because
know,
you got to
I
take
know.
your eyes off of it to do that, and
So
it's like,
just be in the moment and experience the lights in the moment. It's for you.
right,
And when it blinked out, it actually let Yuri see it. Then it blinked out so that everybody else around us, by the time they opened their eyes, it was gone. So for some reason, my cosmic family came over for me, was witnessed by Yuri, and then when everybody could open their eyes, it was gone.
right. Maybe they weren't ready, because some people get freaked out.
There could have been just even one person in the group who just doesn't want cosmic contact
Right.
that close.
And that's
I mean, it
okay.
was close.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's
And you
fun,
have
though.
you have to be respectful to the whole group. You can't force it on people. If they don't want it, you can't wish it on them, right? If
Right.
they don't want to see the Mandela effect and they're not ready, you can't make them see it.
Mm-mm. Gotta
Same
be
with our cosmic
experienced.
family.
Yeah. That's what makes it so fun, though.
That's what makes it so fun and individual.
The times that I did capture something, I had the camera on a tripod with the
I
shutter open.
remember.
So
I
I
remember.
got lucky.
And you got like real streaks and movement across the sky
Yeah, the
that were
one
not
I got
stars.
with the little tic tac shaped craft, it was. I thought I forgot I started my camera when I took that picture, and I thought it was just another time where I missed it. I was so glad that I just hit the button and caught the
It
whole
was
thing.
meant to be.
Yeah.
And I think like that little pink orb or whitish pink orb for Kathy was just meant to be. She had her eyes closed and she just had the urge to take a picture, and she just boom took a picture, and there it was. It was like communicating subconsciously
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
That was meant to be. It came to be witnessed.
And it
They're
was
not they're
awesome.
not by accident, right?
No. And it felt like a complete direct response to me. Remember, I was kind of sort of joking. I'm like, if you're not going to do something special, I'm going to just call you a satellite. And then bam, it happened. And I was like,
Yep.
that seemed pretty intelligent of a response. So,
That is. That's like they can understand our thoughts.
yeah.
And whether we speak them out loud or not, they understand and respond. So go out and commune with your cosmic family if you want to.
Right.
Go check out that sky and ask them to come and see them pop up for you.
Right. And if somebody says they're just scouting out for some future attack, don't believe it.
No, no, I think most people who are Mandela affected are awake enough to use logic, simple logic, and say, if they wanted to attack us, they would have done it by now.
And
If
they
they
could,
wanted to eat us, we would have been eaten. If they wanted to cage us, we'd be living in cages. It ain't going to happen in the future just because some authority here says it is,
right.
right?
Plus, it seems like it's us that's trying to turn these things into weapons. They've got technology that's so far beyond us, they could probably just wipe us out without even, you know.
If they can travel interdimensionally through space or through time or through different dimensions, and they're not in our space to begin with, and they pop in and out, then we would be dust. We'd be history if that's what they wanted for
Right.
us. So I think
Exactly.
most people are logical enough to figure that out and just laugh
Hmm.
in the faces of those who say the aliens pose a terrible threat to humanity. No, it's just more control and losing more of our freedom
Right. Well, you
under a
remember
perceived threat.
one of the videos I'd seen a long time ago was saying that they were doing the fake invasion to actually help people deal with disclosure, so they could disclose a lot more if you felt like you were being under attack than if it was sort of a nice meeting. Have
I
you heard
do
that one?
remember that. Didn't that go with Dieter von Braun, which my sister was telling me last night? She read the interview and heard the video of Dieter von Braun,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our great rocket scientist that we stole from the Nazis
Mm.
after the war. And he said to his secretary, who's still alive, the last thing he told her before he died, well, not at the moment of death, but he told her that there would be several perceived threats that were not true. And I can't remember. One of them was the threat of terrorism, and one of them, the last one, would be the threat of alien invasion.
Yeah, I think before that was the Cold War or the nuclear threat.
There you go. The
Yeah.
first one was Russia. The Cold War, Russia was going to be the perceived threat, then global terrorism, and then an alien invasion. It was all planned out. And, he was working in the 60s
Hmm.
with our rocket science. So that goes way back.
And he's just talking from outer space, not the southern border, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So we were talking about that last night. I think most people who are awake and aware and consciously evolving immediately sense there's something wrong with that, and then they look into it and they see that it's been planned for a very long time. She even said that there are people out there, which is true, I have read this myself, I'm sure you have, that say that the government, realizing that off-world consciousness is in contact with humans, would go out and stage abductions, but they would literally get them, strap them to a table, give them a horrible experience, and then put them back home so that they could write the books, do the interviews, and say, it's horrible, stay away from aliens, they probe you, and
Right.
it's painful and it's scary. So there's even a theory, a conspiracy theory or a truther theory, that the really bad abductions are being done by our government to stop us from interacting with them. And that the really good, normal contactees in the book, Beyond UFOs, the consciousness and science of non-human intelligence, right?
Hmm.
They just say, if it's real, it's they don't hurt you. You don't get hurt. You get put back. Everything's fine. So there's two kinds of experiences going on.
And then there's the others that, maybe you have a pleasant experience and then you go to talk to some of the established names in in ufology, and they begin with questions like, well, were there any cattle mutilations? And they go down this negative path to see, like,
Oh yeah.
you know,
So the Skinwalker Ranch and the cattle mutilations, where like I'm watching Skinwalker Ranch on Netflix or wherever it is, Prime, and it's like a scientist from Ancient Aliens and 6 guys in battle fatigues with guns trying to shoot the aliens on Skinwalker Ranch. Like they see a light and a light comes down and they try to shoot it and it disappears. I'm like, oh my God, really? Is that why you want to go out there and shoot aliens? Come on. And it's just so low vibe. It's so low energy.
and we
And
wonder why they won't visit. You know what I mean?
exactly. And they were talking about cattle mutilations, and all the cattle mutilations are direct energy weapons, which we have. Those
Oh
are
yeah,
very, very human direct energy weapons with
it's
lasers.
probably practice or something.
Exactamundo.
Hmm.
It's like, yes, Why would aliens come down and just like, remove, burn out and remove certain parts of cattle?
Just
You
freaking
know,
people out. Did you see
they
the
could
one
just take the
footage?
whole cow. They
Did you
could take
see
the
the
whole
one footage
cow.
of that where there's a cow flying up?
I think I saw a picture.
Like 10 or
Is there
15
actual
years ago.
footage?
Yeah, you could
Footage?
see
Video?
this cow. I don't know if it's real because it's real grainy, but it sure looked real.
I saw a picture
Yeah, you don't
of
know what you
cows
can
and
believe
people.
nowadays because it's so easy to fake stuff. I mean, I was in the business of doing that, so I know how easy it is and what to
Oh
look
yeah,
for.
because you
And
were a
it's
graphic designer, weren't
yeah,
you?
and
And
animation and
video,
special effects too. Animation and
special
special
effects and
effects.
video. So
Yeah,
you got to look at everything and say, is that our visitors or is that us pretending to be our visitors? You got to ask, what do they get out of it? Like, what
right,
what would they get out of that?
right.
Not much.
And if it's a video or a photograph, that's easily manipulated. And now they're actually getting to where they can manipulate things in real time. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, if everything is like that, then we have to develop our internal truth detectors. We
absolutely.
got to get something going. And this is one of the easiest ones. A lot of people do the kinesiology where you close your eyes, you lean left or you lean right, you lean forward or you lean back if it's a yes or no. Or you do the pendulum, yes or no, right? You figure out which direction is yes for you, which direction is no.
Hmm.
But the easiest one is you got your two fingers together. So grab your fingers right now, Shane, put them together. Okay. And then say something either in your head or out loud, like, my name is right here now is Shane Cornelius Robinson, and then pull them apart.
Okay. Right now, my name is Shane Robinson. Nice and
So you're
solid.
getting a good strong. Now
Yeah.
you've tested your strength. Now say something like, my name is Matt Smith and I'm 25 years old, and then pull your fingers apart while you're
My
saying
name
the
is
lie.
Matt Smith. Oh, they're slipping for sure. Yeah, it's like wow, they got weak. They're coming apart.
They got weak.
Yeah.
So a lot of people use that for foods, like, and they go like, should I, should I eat this food? And they'll get a strong yes, or they'll get a weak no. Okay. It'll just pull apart. And you can do that for anything to test internally. Your gut is sensing whether something is true for you or false for you.
Right.
Okay. But the first thing you have to do is test it and make sure it's working for you at that moment, that when you say something true, it's
It's
strong.
weird. It just
And
kind of starts opening up when I. Yeah, that was weird.
once you encounter something that isn't true, it'll just become weak.
Yeah.
It'll just open up. So that's really good for testing out real truths in the community as well.
And then
Little
there's always the love,
kinesiology.
fear. If you just sit with the love and the fear thing, am I doing this out of love or fear? Because you can have the opposite answers for the same exact thing, like putting those things on your face. There's been times I did it out of love. I never did it out of fear, right?
Yep.
But there was
Yep.
times that I did it out of love. So, that's a perfect example. But you can do that with anything,
That's a really good one.
The
I like how
love
you said
train,
love or
baby.
fear.
That's where that whole message. You
Yeah.
can get on the love train
And
or
your
you can get on the
song,
fear.
you should just put a link to your song again in the comments below.
I might have left it in there because I think I had it in there last time, but it
Oh,
might be
good.
down below. It's in the.
That'll
It's,
raise your vibes. If you're ever feeling down, listen to Shane's and his family's, his children's Love Train. It'll raise your vibes instantly.
That's cool. That's awesome. So we had a great conversation. What are we going on here? Almost 2 hours.
I think 2 hours. Yeah, I think this is a long one today, guys.
Maybe we should do another meditation. I'm just playing.
I don't know. Maybe we should wait for our confirmation and our disclosure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love you, Eileen. I appreciate you doing this with us.
I love you
And
too, Shane. I
yeah,
love all you guys out there. You're our friends. You're our family.
yeah, thank you guys
And
for
we
being here and
we've
joining
been
your
together a
power
long
intention.
time. Yeah.
And we're really changing the world. We've seen it time and time again. And those little bitty changes go a long way.
Changing the world one intention at a time.
That's right. Well, lots of love, light, and unity to you guys. We'll see you next month.
Mwah.
Peace.
Peace.